There they are. Hello, hello. Oh, they're yogurt. Okay, let me pull up my chats so I can see you people. There we are. And now we can get going. I don't know what's cooking today, but we're gonna find out. There we go. There we go. Okay. Beautiful. What's this little Indian talking about? What's he? Oh, DeepSeek. Yeah. Okay. Oh boy, Jake Lang's out in Michigan again, huh? Running for a cop car.
Stop! You're a fucking pussy!
Yes, get in the back of the cop car, Jake.
You're a coward!
Hey! Get back!
Did you come there with cop car too?
You stupid bitch!
Stop!
You know nothing! You
Guys, go back to your mom!
Now fuck that bitch! Fuck you, pussy!
Yeah. This guy, man. I don't know, man. I don't know. You'd think people would catch on, but oh gosh. What is happening to Corey Feldman? Having a good one, I guess. Why are you scraping the gold off? You can just sell that thing for its weight in gold. At this point. Outrageous. Okay, well, boy, it's just a bunch of bullshit on my home page this morning, I guess. No, I feel like I recognize that from somewhere. Yeah. Hi, kitty. Hi, meow meow. Oh, here's more of Jake Lang being a moron.
Port ICE! We do not want these illegal immigrants here! Jesus is king of Dearborn, Michigan! I speak the name of Jesus!
Oh, shit.
No rioting, no violence, 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 no violence.
Port ICE!
I mean, I don't want to like let the Muslims win or anything, but like, Jake Lang is not Christian. He is a Jew.
We do not want these illegal immigrants.
And this is just paid agitator bullshit.
Here.
I blows my mind people don't freaking see it with him, but you know, they will.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light?
This is the national anthem at the first women's professional baseball game. They have that now.
What so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming.
I think we're done. What? No idea. I'm not gonna click it. I'm not gonna click it. I have no clue. I don't want to know. NEC director Kevin Hassett.
And again,
Let's
if you go
see.
back and look at the chapter I wrote with my team in the economic report of the president last time, which the president signed off on, if you look at what happens once socialism takes over, then things get bad really fast. And so Venezuela became socialist. Their energy production got cut down to almost zero. You know, the grocery stores, whenever somebody's socialist, they get empty. Countries that adopt socialism within a few years have skyrocketing death rates, both because of violence and because of starvation. And so the history of socialism is really a history that should be gone. And the fact that there are many, many people in the political party that think that they should support something, they don't know what they're supporting. And again, if you go back and look at the
All right, let me go to Steph's pile here. Oh boy, Mom Danny's looking like a heroin addict here. Oh my god.
How are you going to keep people from taking advantage of that, that deal, basically? And is there going to be a limit on the number of items that someone can take that are discounted at that level from that essential basket?
So our
Yeah.
RFP makes very clear that this is a program for New Yorkers to be able to put food on the table, not a program for people to be able to make a quick buck through reselling. I'm going to
And yet,
pass it over to our EDC head, GPAC, to add some additional details.
Yes, if you look at our RFP for the operator, we are looking to make sure that we target New Yorkers, whether it be at sort of a library card-esque thing, and also we manage who's buying, and that is focused on everyday New Yorkers. So we are mindful of that, and so we're going to make sure that we have all the things in place to ensure that that does not happen.
How are you going to keep people from taking advantage of?
how? Like, how though? How are you going to do all of that?
So we manage who's buying, and that is focused on everyday New Yorkers. So
You're going to manage who's buying.
we are mindful of that, and so we're going to make sure that we have all the things in place to ensure that that does not happen.
Well, here I am wondering what the fuck that means. Whatever it is, it can't be good. A library card-esque thing. So, digital ID. Present your digital ID for your food, or else just don't eat, I guess. Yeah, that's where that's gonna go. Excuse me. Oh boy. Man, that shooting the other day, crazy stuff. Two guys that stopped the nut job.
We can confirm that there are multiple victims. Based on the information
The
currently
In-N-Out shooting.
available, there are 3 victims that are deceased. 7 others are injured. 2 of those patients have been treated and released. 3 are in stable condition, and 2 are in critical condition. These numbers are preliminary and may be updated as we continue to work with our medical providers, investigators, and partnering agencies. Out of respect for the victims and their families, who have all not been notified at this time, we will not be releasing the identities of them today. I want to thank St. Luke's and their medical staff for their assistance and their extraordinary care during this difficult time. Now, we know there have been multiple comments online about multiple shooters. We can confirm that there was an off-duty state trooper and a citizen who actively engaged the suspect by returning gunfire towards him. We want to take a moment and commend the actions of the off-duty officer and the citizen in their heroic action to stop this incident. We believe their actions helped drive the suspect away from the scene, preventing further casualties. We can confirm that in the minutes after law enforcement arriving and beginning their search for the suspect, we had a second officer-involved shooting. No one was injured in that incident, and the Twin Falls police officer involved in that shooting, his actions are now being reviewed by the Jerome Police Department. More information about that incident will be forthcoming in the days to follow.
I'm pretty sure in that second incident, the cop was shooting at one of the 2 that stopped to help. Thankfully, they didn't get hurt, it sounds like, but could have ended very differently. Rather dramatic footage. See the guy in this one with the silencer on his pistol. Clearly a truck gun or something. One does not just waltz around with a silencer on their pistol unless they're keeping the gun in the truck. You can see him taking fire there too. Bam, right there. Bam. Again. Seen this one, I think. Are they all going the wrong way? I mean, shit. I think that was the guy. Like the guy that engaged the bad guy. Right there. Trying to flag him down, like yell at him. Can't tell what he said. Yeah, crazy stuff though.
Oh, good morning.
Something on the wildfire up northwest there. Washington State. Oof, burned several thousand acres, destroying numerous homes.
Yeah, so many homes look like this one where everything is gone, only a chimney remaining, a couple of other items. Firefighters believe they've lost around 600 homes here, but they say they really have no idea. They're going to have to send in a specialized team to count every single one of them.
This morning, entire neighborhoods in Spokane, Washington, gone, vanishing in a matter of hours as intense wind-fueled flames seen here racing from home to home.
There's a car.
Walls of smoke engulfing neighborhoods, the skies turning black and orange. This was a scene over the weekend. The wind and flames so intense, firefighters could not do anything to stop the homes from burning. Instead, they focused on life safety and getting out thousands of residents forced to evacuate.
There wasn't enough rigs with how many fires we had going and how large the fire got, with how quick it was. It was jumping through multiple neighborhoods. Nobody is capable of handling that in this country.
Authorities are calling it the worst natural disaster the region has ever seen. More than 7,000 acres burning.
There are just so many Washingtonians who have literally lost everything in a very, very short period of time. Just in a matter of hours, their lives changed.
Firefighters racing in from several states and as far away as Australia. But overnight, crews on the front lines reporting no containment. Wow. Home after home burned to the ground as we see firsthand.
On the ground here, that's part of the engine of the car that just melted out of it. There are pieces of the tire and the brakes. Everything melted as the flames went racing through here.
Fire commander.
What is this homeboy talking about? The engine's melting out of the car? What?
A very short period of time. Just in a matter of hours, their lives changed.
But overnight, we see firsthand.
On the ground here, that's part of the engine
that would be a muffler, sir.
Of the car that just melted out.
I guess technically, sort of, kind of part of the engine?
Out of it. There are pieces of the tire and the brakes. Everything melted as the flames went racing through here.
Fire commanders say more than 600 structures have been destroyed. Many of them were homes. Residents and their family members are coming back to find what's left.
This used to be, really the most you've ever seen in a house, like a history book. I pulled a Stahlhelm for World War I out of here, but unfortunately...
Wait, where did they find where was the World War I helmet and why?
And their family members are coming back to find what's left.
This used to be, really the most you've ever seen in a house, like a history book. I pulled a Stahlhelm for World War I out of here.
What?
But unfortunately, I think everything in here is pretty toast.
But very little is salvageable.
I never in a million
years
would have ever thought this would happen to me.
I was on the roof. I couldn't see my feet, and I had to feel my way down the ladder because everything just turned black. It was like someone flipped the lights off.
Ouchie.
And George, this morning we've seen community members coming through looking for looters. In fact, there's police coming by right now. And during the day, community members and families have been coming in, sifting through these homes, looking for anything salvageable. And there's very little left.
Boy, so much devastation. Okay, Alex, thanks.
Oh, look who it is. It's little George. This fucking guy, man.
Ground as we see firsthand.
On the ground here, that's part of the engine of the car that just melted.
Like, no, that is so quite clearly a muffler that just dropped down onto the ground. It's like
out of it.
What?
There are...
I don't know where they find these fucking people. I have no idea.
Pieces of...
I have no clue. But they found him. And he's doing the news.
Acting director...
Pulte stepping down from his role as acting director of national intelligence. Okay, DNI Jay Clayton was confirmed and will take over Monday.
Director of National Intelligence Bill Pulte is set to step down from his position. The acting DNI announced Saturday the official leadership handover to the newly confirmed DNI Jay Clayton will begin on Monday. Clayton was confirmed by the Senate earlier this week to oversee the nation's 18 intelligence agencies. Pulte said he has offered Clayton his complete and total support to ensure a smooth transition. Acting Director of National Intelligence Bill Pulte is said...
Already out. Jay Clayton. Jay Clayton. Oh, yeah. Okay. That Jay Clayton. U.S. Attorney for Southern District, New York from 2025 to 2026. He was chair of the SEC back in Trump 1.0. That's right. Interesting. Well, we'll see how he does. Shame they couldn't just get Pulte in there, but hey, oh well. Sounds like, by the way, they're going to be getting Todd Blanche in, huh? I guess they Cornyn, and the other fucker. Forget who it is. The other asshole. They got their wish, and they, I guess, got him to drop the weaponization fund, or I forget the exact name of it, but you know the one. 1.8 billion or whatever it was set aside for victims of weaponization. So they demanded, yeah, that's right. That was, thank you, Tom Tillis, scumbag Tillis. That was Tillis and Cornyn's demand. That was it. That's what they wanted. They wanted that weaponization fund yanked. It was so important to them for some reason. All whopping drop in the freaking Atlantic Ocean that is $1.8 billion out of all the tax money we spend. That's what did it for them. Yeah. So I mean, it wasn't too terribly pleased to see that they're yanking that, because there are people that deserve restitution from many years of suffering, still ongoing in many, not most cases. But I expect, government being what it is, I expect they'll find another. They'll magically find another source of money for it. They've learned the tricks by now. They know how to work it. They'll just pull it from something else, or find some other way. Do it through a state. All this, I don't know, something. They'll do something though. I don't think they're gonna let that one slide. Trump sounded very adamant about it when he was asked about it the other day, so we'll see. Winning Florida lottery ticket allegedly stolen and redeemed by a U.S. Postal Service worker. How did you think that was going to go? Can we see the Postal Service worker?
Cuba is facing yet another nationwide power crisis after its electrical grid collapsed overnight, leaving millions without...
Unrelated. Darn, we don't get to see who stole the ticket. Oh, well, I'll give you one guess. Which demographic she hails from. Her name is Lakeisha Lockhart. Lakeisha was arrested July 23rd and later admitted to stealing the ticket and redeeming that shit. The Pick 4 ticket was valued at what? Oh, like $28 million or something. You wonder? No. $2,600. Lakeisha threw away her future career at the U.S. Postal Service and likely any other normal job for a $2,600 lottery ticket. Sounds like a Lakeisha to me. A surge of more than 50,000 migrants crossing into... Oh, here's Spain. More from Spain.
There's no food here. There's no one here. The police aren't coming. The people sitting here were all leaving.
Migrants, accompanied by security officers, continued to leave Spain's Ceuta enclave and returned to Morocco on Sunday, with many complaining about the conditions they had faced.
No food or anything here. No sleep. No doctor or anything.
You could just go home?
Were some of the 50,000 people who crossed into Ceuta by land and sea in an unprecedented surge that began on Thursday at one of the European Union's only 2 land borders with Africa. Spanish authorities reported on Sunday that over 70 people died in the crossing, with some drowning and others crushed while trying to climb a breakwater and border fence. More migrants were seen boarding army vehicles on Sunday to be driven back to the border. That was after over 48,000 people returned to Morocco in the first 48 hours, according to Spanish authorities. But Mohamed Sahil, who swam the distance from Morocco, has decided not to leave.
I want to go back to Europe. I want to go to Europe. I don't want to stay in Spain, but I've...
Oh, he wants to go on.
Got lots of things to do in Europe.
Yes, there's lots of crusades to be had.
After living
He wants to go crusading.
in Belgium in the past, he had been looking for a way to reach Europe again. He
Oh my gosh.
told Reuters that it was hard for migrants to access basic necessities, but they aren't going to leave.
Look at this look at this shit. Just
We're waiting for the Spanish government to work out a solution with us. That's it.
Oh my gosh! Where did they find it?
And we're not doing anything wrong. We're really calm. There are people who
they're out there kicking their ball.
Come in to get medical treatment. There are people who've entered and have no family or anything. They've entered here. There are Palestinians. There are Africans. There are lots of different nationalities.
Goodbye. Back where you came from.
Spanish and Moroccan authorities have blamed the rush of migrants on social media misinformation, along with a misinterpretation of a Spanish ruling banning immediate returns of migrants intercepted at sea. The situation has caused concern in Spain and the wider
So it all happened just because they're retarded?
EU bloc.
The whole thing happened because they're retards and read something from some other retard on social media.
Outside the Moroccan embassy in Madrid on Sunday, demonstrators protested what they described as a, quote, invasion of migrants in Ceuta.
We don't want to be invaded by other countries. The culture here is what it is. We can't just do whatever they want.
Corrupto. Yes, corrupto indeed. El Corrupto. Meanwhile, in El United Stateso,
socialism is now on the ballot across America. So how did we get here? Let's start back in 2016. Bernie Sanders is running for president. He starts this nationwide movement. Instead of just ripping it apart, the Democrats force him out of the race, and then we know what happens from there. They did the same thing in 2020, by the way. 2018,
you're leaving out the part where they made him bend over and spread his cheeks and then say, "Thank you, sir. May I have another?"
He takes down an establishment Democrat, Joe Crowley. He was a part of the leadership, chairman of a committee. She takes him out. In 2025, they needed more reinforcement. No one thought he could win in New York City, but Mamdani wins with the help of social media. And if you look at the Democrats, because of all of the splits, they feeling like the establishment not representing them. 48% of Democrats say that they feel that their party has betrayed them. Socialism is now on the ballot.
Half of those people because it's not socialist enough, and the other half because it's too socialist. It's just gone too far. Cuckoo, cuckoo. An immigration attorney in Illinois caught in a fraud operation, making tens of thousands of foreigners eligible for citizenship who were in fact not eligible. With her money, she bought a pink private jet, because, duh, first thing you get. $3 million condo in Chicago. A $3.2 million luxury condo in Seattle. Properties in Mexico, of course, because gotta have them in Mexico. Gotta go kick it with the homies. And multiple other home purchases elsewhere. Calling herself the miracle lawyer, when in fact she was charging some vulnerable clients tens of thousands of dollars to file falsified immigration papers under the Violence Against Women Act. Wow. Alleging her clients were victims of human trafficking, regardless of whether they qualified for that relief according to the complaint. The sad part is, technically, they probably are. It's just they're trafficking themselves. Whatever. Let's watch the story.
Alexandra Lozano promised a pathway to citizenship for tens of thousands of people, a self-described miracle lawyer, according to a new lawsuit. She had an office in West Suburban Berwyn, a multi-million-dollar condo in the city, and a pink private jet, among offices across the country. The catch, that promise of citizenship for her clients was broken, according to the complaint.
We had been hearing rumors for years about problems with how those cases were being handled, rumors that things were being fabricated to make people eligible.
What about all of the, I don't know, state entities and apparati that are supposed to be there catching this stuff as it happens, you know, noticing the signs, picking up on them, acting on them.
Was eligible.
Vicente Omar Barraza represents dozens of clients in this lawsuit out of Washington state who claim they were conned out of tens of thousands of dollars by former immigration attorney Alexandra Lozano. They're only some of the 35,000 clients Lozano represented over the past 5+ years, according to the suit. Immigration attorneys tell the I-Team Lozano made millions of dollars and lived high on the hog with a $3 million condo in Chicago and this pink private jet to ferry her across the country.
When you go around calling yourself the lawyer of miracles, people don't look at the fine print.
Lozano co-opted the potent religious symbol of the Virgin of Guadalupe in her marketing, calling herself the miracle lawyer, when in fact, she was charging some vulnerable clients tens of thousands of dollars to file falsified immigration papers under the Violence Against Women Act, or alleging her clients were victims of human trafficking, regardless of whether they qualified for that relief, according to the complaint.
That's all we've been seeing for the last probably month are just these victims coming in, because now they don't even know if they have a case.
Chicago immigration attorney Kathleen Vanucci telling the I-Team she's seen a flood of former Lozano clients coming to her practice asking for help. When the Washington State Bar Association opened an investigation into Lozano, she voluntarily gave up her law license rather than face discipline and promptly disappeared. This is a video of Lozano's desolate Berwyn office days after her practice ceased, with dozens of cubicles empty.
They're panicking because the problem right now is that some of them didn't know what was going on in the application. If you withdraw the application or that application is denied, you are going to be transferred to immigration court for removal proceedings.
Take a look at this. The amount of people that she was fraudulently getting citizenship or visas into America is way more that's being reported here. There were actually about 35,000 clients and about 54,000 petitions that had her signature on them. And look how much she was charging. She was charging between $10,000 and $25,000 per case, sometimes more. This means between all the immigration clients that she had revenues.
That is disgusting. But not at all surprising at this point. Cuba plunges into darkness as electric grid collapses. Oof.
Tonight, as Cubans face a second nationwide blackout just this week, nearly 10 million people are grappling with a growing humanitarian crisis. That crisis unfolding tonight, exactly 5 years since massive historic demonstrations against the regime swept across the island. That movement still active to this day. Earlier this week, darkened streets echoed with the sounds of protest. Reporting from inside Havana, independent journalist Boris Gonzalez Arenas says it's hard to imagine conditions worse than the ones we have today. As conditions in Cuba decline,
imagine the smell of that.
Repression has been on the rise. Prisoners Defenders, a group monitoring Cuban political prisoners, saying this week the regime has set new records for repression. More than 1,300 political prisoners, including 40 minors. Fidel Castro's daughter, Alina Fernandez Revuelta, escaped Cuba to the United States in 1993. Alina, what do you make of the repression happening in Cuba right now?
We are used to. We are commemorating today what happened 5 years ago, and it was exactly the same. People were thrown in jail just for asking for liberty.
The Cuban regime has been facing unprecedented pressure from the Trump administration, ramping up sanctions and stopping Venezuela's flow of free oil to the island. Secretary of State Marco Rubio saying in a statement today, Cuba's leaders must simply choose to commit themselves to real reforms, peace and prosperity before it's too late. Do you think that's possible?
It doesn't look like, Jose, it's been the same for the last 67 years. And more and more, it seems to be a dynasty.
ICE detentions in July set new records during Trump's second term. Honk, honk. Good, good. Keep going, though. You're going to have to keep going. You have to get more. At least quadruple that shit. Summer surge increased in July. CBS News reported, citing unreleased data, detentions last month blew through the previous record of 43,000 set in June. Get him out of here. Adios. Wow. Rotting corpse with knife still in neck found inside New York City home. A rotting 58-year-old man's corpse found with the knife sticking out of his neck. Pronounced dead at the scene, duh. Unclear how long he was there. Body was highly decomposed with the knife protruding from the neck. Oh boy, this looks like it was in a reasonably nice part of town, too. Bed-Stuy. Dang, nobody noticed that shit? Dankin? Like... Gross. That's crazy. I just see him. Friday night. He was out here on the steps. One neighbor told the Post, so... I guess, hasn't been all that long. But it is hot out. He let everybody in that crib. I see him every day when I walk my dog. Shit. Heck of a way to go. Colorado Secretary of State Jenna Griswold. Oh yeah, I remember her. Who ignores the 270,000 non-citizens registered to vote. Brags about refusing to turn over the voter rolls.
Since being a...
What a sweetie.
Elected to a second term, Donald Trump has doubled down on his efforts to attack our elections and democracy. There have now been 2 executive orders on elections during his second term, trying to grab power over elections. Luckily, they're largely losing. There's a big potential decision coming up next week on one of these executive orders that we hope we will win. His DOJ is suing many states across the country, trying to get sensitive voter data. I told them to take a hike. Luckily, again, the DOJ is losing many of these cases. So we are seeing Trump weaponize the federal government against democracy since being elected to a second.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Yep. Washington Governor Bob Ferguson on the fires. President Trump apparently he was quite impressed with Trump.
I will just say I can't speak to the past. I wasn't governor then. But what I can say is I deeply appreciate the president taking time. I think I requested a conversation. I'm losing track of the hours here today, but just a few hours ago. And I was on the phone with him literally a couple hours later. And I had the clear sense he understood what was going on. I had the clear sense he'd been briefed on what was going on. He was knowledgeable about the situation. And I appreciated that. I will just say I can't speak to the past. I wasn't governor.
Mm-hmm. Oh, back to Spain. A crowd of illegal Moroccan migrants already establishing its own rules in the city. Yeah, there you go, Copper. Beat him. There you go. More of that. You missed about 200 of them. Goodness gracious. An ICE New Orleans investigation resulted in a 4-year prison sentence for Yaroslav Shilklopper, a dual citizen of Ukraine and Israel. His crime, he and his co-conspirators defrauded U.S. victims of more than $3 million using a phony brokerage business. Scammers took investment money but never invested it. Instead, they just took it all and laundered it to bank accounts around the globe. Well, the sum of all his parts. Yep. Patriotism is alive and well. Fox News gets exclusive access inside Fort Hood as the Army experiences one of its biggest recruiting turnarounds in years.
Good morning, Charlie. Just a few years ago, the Army was struggling to fill its ranks. Now commanders tell us they're seeing more and more Americans walk into their recruiting office looking
turning around that COVID bullshit probably went a long way.
For a career, a sense of purpose, and wanting to serve our country. So we got an exclusive look here inside of Fort Hood, one of the Army's largest installations. We met with soldiers and we spoke to them about why they decided to serve.
I love my country. I love America. This is our home. This is everything that we all have in common is this American flag that we fly on our right shoulder. I would say the camaraderie here is insanely strong. These are the guys that we're going to be going with when the time comes to actually do our jobs for whatever the case is, the conflict is, and they're going to be there. I'm going to be there for them.
After hitting a low in fiscal year 2022, Army recruiting has climbed every year since, up nearly 38% overall, with that biggest jump happening in fiscal year 2025. The Army has already met its annual recruiting goal for 2026, months ahead of schedule. Army leaders say today's typical recruit is about 23 years old. Recruiters are also spending more time inside of high schools and college.
Are you seeing what I'm seeing in that back row? Best of luck, dear, but I don't know if this is for you.
Recruiters are also spending more time inside of high schools and college campuses. Battalion Commander Jade Root says the comeback is being fueled by a mix of patriotism, Army benefits, and a strong recruiting presence in local communities.
I think that really shows a strong signal that patriotism is alive and well. We have a high propensity for people that want to serve, but most importantly, that our Army is growing. I always ask our recruiters, remember, they're not just a number. This is someone's son or daughter.
And as technology becomes an even bigger part of modern warfare, the recruiting commander tells me they're looking for a different skill set now in their recruits. Would-be soldiers that have this technological aspect that can take up areas in cybersecurity, intelligence, and engineering, Charlie.
Taylor, Fort Hood, one of the most important stories of this administration.
Those numbers are quite good, though. I mean, that was pretty wild. They've already almost met last year's numbers as of not even halfway through the year. That is pretty nuts. Oh, how nice. Back in Spain, illegal migrantes jump out of a military truck to avoid being deported to Morocco. How were they even in a position to be able to jump out of said truck? I mean, like, are you kidding me? Have they heard of fucking handcuffs? Or, I don't know, guards? Astonishing. Oh, and then we have this guy.
How are you going to keep people from...
I have to highlight again. He looks like he's strung out after like a 5-day bender on like heroin and, you know, fuck it, why not? A speedball. Like he's doing cocaine and heroin 5 days straight. Like, look at that face, dude.
Taking advantage of that, that deal, basically, and is there going to be a limit on the number of items that someone can take that are discounted at that level from that essential basket?
So our RFP makes very clear that this is a program for New Yorkers to be able to put food on the table, not a program for people to be able to make a quick buck through reselling. I'm going to pass it over to our EDC head, G Pack, to add some additional details.
Yes, if you look at our RFP for the operator, we are looking to make sure that we target New Yorkers, whether it be at sort of a library card-esque thing, and also we manage who's buying, and that is focused on everyday New Yorkers. So we are mindful of that, and so we're going to make sure that we have all the things in place to ensure that that does not happen.
How are you going to keep?
Best of luck, my dear. Oh my gosh.
Anybody who is supporting the grocery stores up in New York, 50 Chamber of Commerces voted this week to sue the city of New York. 50. Chamber of Commerces, not 50 CEOs, 50 chambers. The Chamber of Commerce for the Asian, African, Caribbean, Hispanic, Middle Eastern, Jewish-owned business groups, all organized together in a nonprofit called the Multicultural Business Coalition. And their chairman is Frank Garcia. He told the New York Post that the board has authorized a lawsuit in the coming weeks, and they're raising $1 million to pay for it. Letters going to City Hall notifying the mayor that he's about to be sued. Now, Garcia's explanation was 2 sentences. The mayor won't sit down with them. And the mayor, he said, isn't going to be able to bully the lawyers that they're bringing in. So what are they suing over? $70 million of city money to open 5 government grocery stores, 1 per borough. This week, the mayor put the numbers on it. 30% off the core basket. All fresh produce, all meat, all seafood, plus about 20 staples like milk, cheese, and bread. His phrase was no exceptions, no gimmicks. Okay, I want you to think now as a person that owns a small store or a bodega. Do the arithmetic that every bodega owner in Queens did the second they heard that.
The arithmetic is, I'm fucked. I can't afford to do business anymore. Oh, well.
A grocery store is one of the thinnest businesses in America, 1 to 2% net margin. You come with your cart and you're paying $100. The man behind the counter clears $1.50. The store clears $1.50. We went to the store, I think we spent like $350. They're making less than $5 off of me. That's incredible. Why? Because he has to pay the rent and the landlord. He has to pay the property taxes through that rent. He pays, if you're in New York, Con Ed, you have to have the refrigeration, the insurance, the guy who stocks the cooler at 5 a.m, who you're now paying $20 an hour. The city store is not paying any rent. It's sitting on city property. It doesn't pay property tax. It can't go out of business because losing money is not failure for a government store. It's a budget line, okay? One analysis this week projected the city loses about 28 cents on every dollar those stores will ring up. 28 cents in loss. So the competition is not between 2 grocers. It's between a grocer and a grocer's tax collector. So here's the part worth being fair about, because it's true. The mayor's not lying about the problem. Food in poor neighborhoods, it does cost more. A corner store in Brownsville really does charge more for a gallon of milk than the Whole Foods in Tribeca. Why? Because Whole Foods is buying in bulk. It buys in smaller volumes. It has to eat more in theft. It has to pay more per square foot. More security, all of these things.
I wonder how much he could save all the grocery stores if he put a stop to all of the theft going on.
Blocks in New York City where the nearest full grocery store is a bus ride away, and those are real. So I can look at that, you can look at that, the socialists can look at that and say, I want to fix that. I think that makes you a good man for wanting to fix it. The trouble isn't the heart. The trouble happens in the head. It's what happens next, because the price is not a decision somebody makes. A price is a piece of information. The whole economy, every farmer, every truck, every port, every shortage and surplus on earth is compressed into one number that tells the grocer what that stock is worth and what to put on the shelves and what a shopper wants to buy. All of those things. When it comes to government setting the number by decree, it hasn't changed the information. It's only stopped broadcasting it. Okay? The shortage is still there, but now nobody can see it. We've been here before. I can't believe I'm going to take you to the winter. Hang with me for a second, because this is really important. The winter of 362. Let me take you to Antioch. Okay, the Roman emperor there was Julian. He was in town, and he was, by every account, including his enemies, genuinely an austere man. He slept little, he ate plainly, he had contempt for luxury, and he found out that Antioch was short on grain, and prices were climbing. So he looked at the merchants, and he said, "You're just price gouging." So he did the obvious decent thing, right? He fixed the price of grain by decree. So you want to see how this doesn't work? Let's go back to 362. And you can fill in all the way from 362 to today and show it's the same story. So what happened? The grain vanished. Why? Well, not because the merchants were wicked, but because at the emperor's price, it was worth more everywhere else in the Mediterranean than it was in Antioch. So Julian went further. He bought grain out of Egypt. He brings it out with his own money, ships it in, and sold it in the city at his price. What happened? People started buying all of it up and then carrying it out of the gates and reselling it at the real price. What happened? The city got hungrier than it was before he arrived.
Go figure.
So you have two choices. You can either stop that madness, or you can now get the guns and say, you are going to do this. And then you got to start building walls around your city. So Antioch responds to it the way cities do. They wrote songs about him, mocking little verses about his philosopher's beard sung in the streets. Julian, the emperor of Rome, sat down and wrote a pamphlet answering them. He called them the beard hater. Okay, he nailed it up in the public square. In it, he explained at length that his policy had been sound and the people of Antioch were greedy and soft, and they had failed him. Then he left. That pamphlet still exists. You can read it. Just go online. It's an amazing thing. 1,600 years later, the oldest detailed record we have of a government capping the price of food is also a government blaming the citizens for what the cap is doing. Which brings me to the chairman of the New York City Democratic Socialists of America, a Mamdani ally, asked about the bodegas this week. What he said was, if one publicly owned grocery store is bringing prices down enough to put a man out of business, then maybe he shouldn't have been in that business in the first place. Wait, you can lose 28 cents on every dollar. That's not a business. That's not business. That's insanity. Communism. Follow the sequence. The bodega on the corner loses 10% of its traffic, and it has to close. The halal butcher 2 doors down loses foot traffic. The bodega closes. Now Mamdani Mart is the only food on the block, which means the discount is no longer competing with anything. It's just an expense, and the expenses get cut. And the next budget crunch, the next mayor, the next fiscal emergency, the subsidy gets trimmed and the shelves thin out, and the neighborhood that
it's definitely going to be interesting to watch this and like actually play out in practice in real time with every eye in the country watching it. Nick Shirley's out in Spain. Have fun. Nice. Montana boy, age 14, uses a rodeo lasso to rescue a man drowning in the Yellowstone River. Way to go, kid. Is there video?
I'm Isabel Sparts here outside of Gray Cliff, where a family's quiet camping trip quickly turned into a dire rescue mission. But the positive outcome was all thanks to the quick thinking of a 14-year-old boy and his unlikely skill. It started as a normal July afternoon. Jory Thomas was camping with his family along the Yellowstone River near Gray Cliff.
We come down to this campground a couple times during the summer.
But then shouting began.
All we heard was, "Help, help."
A flotation device had capsized, throwing 4 people into the river. But one of them seemed to struggle as he floated downstream, holding on to only a cooler for support.
Just turned into a tragic accident.
The 14-year-old quickly jumped into action and took off running along the riverbank.
He was moving pretty quickly. Only thing I could focus on was helping him get out of the water because I didn't want to see anyone go in front of me.
But with him that day, Jory had brought his lariat, a skill he'd spent the year practicing.
I actually started really getting into roping this year. I went to brandings and started roping cattle then.
Never, ever brought his lariat with him before, and that day he did.
You want to throw your loop, you just want to let the coils go.
So like a scene out of a Western, Jory used those roping instincts and threw his loop straight for the drowning man.
Luckily I caught him first try.
Paramedics and first responders arrived at the same time, and thanks to Jory, the man was headed to shore and okay.
I felt pretty good afterwards that I knew he was okay. And
he comes up and he said, "I think I just saved a life."
Aww.
And we all said, "Yeah, you did."
His grandmother, Sandy Thomas, says helping others has always come naturally. Jory believes he was there for a reason.
But that's Jory. He's always there to help somebody else.
God was basically putting me in the place of all of this.
You never know when a hobby can save a life, but for Jory, it'll be an experience he'll never forget.
I just thought I could help in cattle, not in like real helping humans and stuff like that. But I'm glad I was here to help.
In Great
Good for you, kid. All right, what's next? Little girl in Kentucky given 3 days to live. Mom was told to call the funeral home and start making arrangements. Oh man, got a new liver just in time. Jeez. Well, that's long and we got other stuff to get to, but wow. A 10-year-old boy was hit by a car. His liver saved her life. Well, he is. Every member of the squad has now endorsed this guy. Never heard of him. Abdul El Sayed, ahead of Michigan's, of course it's Michigan, Tuesday Democratic Senate primary, uniting the party's most progressive bloc behind a candidate who attended 6 Democratic Socialists of America events. Headlined a DSA fundraiser alongside Rashida Tlaib, and was photographed behind a poster depicting a hand labeled DSA choking a snake labeled capitalism. Wow. He's now trying to distance himself from the socialist label as he eyes a general election in a swing state. I'm not somebody who's a socialist. I believe in capitalism. I just believe that capitalism has to be regulated. That we saw earlier. Interview with Secretary Rubio. This I have not seen. Definitely want to check some of this out. I'm not following state. There we go.
Critics of this report, of course, are saying, oh, well, these are scare tactics to potentially justify some U.S. military action against Cuba. It sounds like this is something we should take seriously, and this report sounds very real.
Everything in there is factual, and frankly, I don't think they can dispute it. People can argue that we shouldn't do with it, and I know there are plenty of people in American academia and, frankly, in American press that sympathize with the Cuban regime and have for a very long time. Part of it is motivated by their anti-Americanism, and part of it is motivated by ideological affinity. There are enough people in key nodes of our society, including professors, but frankly, in the past, we've seen people within our own government that sympathize with the Cuban regime. It's the way they get spies without paying them. But it doesn't mean we can ignore this threat. Put aside for a moment my history, the fact that I'm Cuban American, the fact that I grew up in Miami. This is 90 miles from our shores. A failed state 90 miles from our shores that happens to be aligned with adversaries to the United States is a national security threat to our country.
Critics of this report, of course, are saying, oh, well, these are scare tactics to potentially justify some U.S. military action against Cuba. It sounds like this is something we should take seriously, and this report sounds very real.
Everything in there is factual, and frankly...
Let me see if we got any more from this. Yep.
I want to move quickly to Venezuela. The interim government and opposition leaders there are taking steps towards a possible future with democratic elections. What role is the United States currently playing, and what can you tell us?
Well, the first thing about Venezuela is I know we're not in the era of patience and persistence, but these things take time. You're dealing with a system that's been in place for over a quarter century. So those are deep roots that you have to deal with. It's also a country that faces a lot of problems. I mean, a lot of economic problems, not to mention now they've had an earthquake. So that's why we've always talked about phase one, where our priority was stabilization. We didn't want the country devolving into civil war, mass migration, civil unrest, and so forth. Step two is a recovery phase, which I think we're into. Obviously, the earthquake adds complexity to it. You've got to have a functioning economy. You need to have laws and rules and regulations in place so that investors from America and around the world can go in and safely invest and create prosperity. Ultimately, you have to have transition. At some point in time, there has to be legitimate elections at every level so that people know that the government that's there is a legitimate government chosen by their people. Step one towards that is the national reconciliation. This is a people that have been divided politically for a very long time against each other. And you're going to have to look at models like what you saw happen in Eastern Europe after the fall of the Soviet Union. And I think the role the U.S. government can continue to play is as a facilitator of all of this.
Interesting. Okay, more.
You've been outspoken for many years about the threat from China. President Xi, of course, is going to come visit here in Washington, D.C. in September. You've had to sit across the table, though, from China's foreign minister. You've had to, negotiate and talk on America's behalf. How have you found in this role negotiating with Beijing?
On the one hand, all the things that China wants to become the most powerful country in the world, and they want to do so at our expense. Obviously, we are Americans. We're not going to allow that to happen. At the same time, they are the two most powerful economies in the world, probably the two most powerful militaries in the world, although ours is further along than theirs, but nonetheless. And I think it's important for two big countries like this, the two most powerful countries in the world, have to have a relationship, have to have the ability to speak to one another and try to deconflict where possible, because it could lead to some really bad things. The foundation of that is the relationship that President Trump has with President Xi, which is a relationship of mutual respect, and they get along. And that really is important, that our two presidents can speak to one another. And it's okay. I think it's almost irresponsible, by the way, to not have direct communications with the Chinese. We want stability in our relationship. Both sides, I think, recognize that there are areas where we're not going to agree, and including areas where we're going to have to compete. Now, there are areas we can work together on. That's phenomenal, fantastic for the world. But I think there's going to be a lot of areas of friction and competition. We have to manage that at the same time as we have to have a relationship with them, but we always have to look out for what's best for America.
All right, more here.
Well, we hear a lot about tensions with China. We hear a lot about tensions with Russia, with Iran daily. I think Americans probably at some point get very overwhelmed because, unfortunately, the good stuff doesn't make it out there often enough. What would you say, though, about the stability of the world right now, given you're in your position, the president is who he is?
I think the world has always been complicated and tricky. I think the difference now is if something happens halfway around the world in a place you've never heard about before, and it's really dramatic, you're going to hear about it almost instantaneously. I think the world is also going through a period of rapid transformation. I mean, there is clearly a geopolitical reordering that is occurring, and I've talked about this repeatedly. We are, after the end of the Cold War, everybody thought the whole world was just going to become free enterprise democracies and everyone would get along and nation states would no longer matter. And unfortunately, we made decisions in our foreign policy on that ridiculous basis that actually caused us to hurt our country. We started saying things like, we don't care where things are made, let it be made in another country as long as it's cheaper prices for America. And it ended up deindustrializing our country and costing us millions of jobs. So what you see President Trump doing now is rebalancing those things on the economy using tariffs, on geopolitics using our presence in the world, especially in the Western Hemisphere, our own area, neighborhood that we live in. And then, of course, there are legacy threats like the Iranian threat of a nuclear program, which can never happen. The president's been very clear about that. So you have all the old threats plus the emerging new ones, and they're all happening at the same time, and they're happening faster than they ever have before. And it'll be the work of this administration, but it'll be the work of future administrations. Some of these things are going to take decades to work themselves out.
Now on Iran.
The regime change has never been the goal, though. As you say, it has been denuclearization. Can you have one without the other, though?
I think the regime has to change. You may not have a regime change, but the regime has to change. The Iranian regime traditionally has been expeditionary. In essence, their view is they don't want to just govern Iran, they want to govern the region. They want to export their revolution. That does have to change. And the only way you're going to change that is if you make the price of it too high for them to be able to pay.
The regime change has never been the goal, though.
Russia aiding Iran.
Just to finish with the situation in Russia and Ukraine, is there anything at this point that the U.S. can realistically do to help bring talks together, bring this to an end?
The president has made very clear the United States can play a role in bringing about an end to that war. We're going to continue to explore it. We spent a lot of time on it in the first year. There came a point where it got to like a stalemate, but we always stood willing and ready to play a constructive role. We're the only country in the world, and President Trump's the only leader in the world that can bring the Russian side and the Ukrainian side to begin to talk about how you end it. The reality is that dynamics have changed just a little bit in that conflict over the last few months. The Ukrainians now are able to conduct long-range strikes deep into Russia, bringing the war to the Russian people. What we are willing to explore is whether that new dynamic has in any way opened the door to some negotiated settlement. I know you're going to see some efforts over the next few weeks to see if we can't restart talks between the two sides and bring this war to an end. But we also understand that both sides have some pretty strong red lines, and until we can bring those red lines a little closer together, we're not going to be there yet. But we're ready to go, and the president's told his team, if you see an opportunity to be a force that brings about some momentum behind peace talks, let's do it. So he always prefers diplomacy over war and peace over combat.
Okay, so that was about Ukraine, not Iran. I was basing it on the little thing at the bottom there. Okay.
The memes that we've gotten out of Marco Rubio, right? He's such a good sport about all this stuff. So we had a little fun, and I asked him about what he thought about becoming a meme.
Which one?
The meme thing, was interesting because when it first came out, I hated that picture, because what happened is in that couch, if you don't have a pillow behind your back, you kind of sink. So I looked at the pictures, this is terrible. I looked, like whatever. And then it turned into this other thing, and it was fine, and it's funny. I don't really follow it very closely, but people have shown me pictures out there. We have a good friend here that works at the White House, Dan Scavino, made a nice board for me. And even since he made that board, we had to update it, so of all the different pictures. So that stuff is funny.
It is hilarious.
It was a brilliant...
that freaking picture, man. That's too great.
So if you could get a full week off without having anyone access you, what would you do?
If I had a full week off, I'd be wondering what was going on. I'm being honest, and maybe that'll change when I'm out of this job. But if I could make the world stop for a minute and have nothing going on, I'd love to well, my wife's gonna hate this answer, but I'd love to sit down and watch every college football game starting at noon Eastern until when the West Coast games end at 2 a.m. our time Eastern. I'd love to be able to do that at least one weekend. I doubt I'll be able to do that anytime soon.
Death toll in Spain. Oh, gross. Has risen to at least 72 after 5 more bodies washed ashore. Like, what? There's just so many of these suckers. They're just dying in stampedes and just washing into the ocean or something? What? Fucking crazy. Early voting begins today in Bradford, Calhoun, Hendry, Hillsborough, Jefferson, Miami-Dade, Monroe, Orange, Putnam, and Santa Rosa counties. For those of you down there in Florida. Yeah, what are you doing? Quit it. Oh, she's so bad. She does this thing where she'll take a single claw and she'll just like, she'll find like a blanket or something or the couch, and she'll just pick, 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 pick. Like, it's not like sitting there scratching like this. It's just taking one claw, and it does this when it wants something. Even the water dish is probably empty. That's my guess. I'm gonna go check. It's over there, just pick, pick, pick. Most obnoxious sound ever. It'll do it all night when you're like in bed, just trying to sleep. It's Luna that does it, not Bobo. Bobo's not nearly so smart. God bless Bobo's little heart. But Bobo's not nearly so devious. Oh yeah, I heard they were setting up autonomous zones. What's the latest retard that got killed? Is it the one that tried to stab a cop or whatever? Corey something or other. So they're, I guess, forming an autonomous zone in Madison, Wisconsin now. Cops are just letting it happen.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Get out of here!
No, do not talk, just bet, no, I'm not talking, no, I'm just trying to get in my car. No, I'm just trying to get in my car. I just want to, just let me get in the car. That's it, that's all I want. That's it. I'm leaving. No, that's all, I'm just trying to get in the car, bro. I'm trying to, just please.
Before your life ends out here.
Can we?
Hurry up and leave!
No,
it's a whole team of us.
I understand it.
Now end this shit! Yeah!
Can we just, dude, that's what I'm trying to do.
End this shit!
Get in the car!
Is this your car?
Get in the car!
Is this your car? Yes, sir. I don't ask questions twice. Get in your car. I just don't want to get hurt. Get in your car.
The car!
Yes, sir. Okay. Yep, we're good. We're good.
Scary piece of white kite, bitch! You reported to the police, home.
Whoa,
Get out of here.
Whoa.
Get out of here.
Whoa.
Get out of here.
No, do not.
Okay, kitty got its water. Mission accomplished, cat. You got it. Virginia's 5th congressional district heads to contested primaries. Virginia voters, just voted on this bullshit. We'll head to the polls Tuesday to choose party nominees for U.S. Senate, congressional seats, and local offices, with the Commonwealth's only congressional district featuring contested primaries in both parties, helping shape the November ballot. We'll see how it goes. U.S. buys Japanese yen as it drops to a 40-year low. For the first time in more than a decade, buying the yen as a signal of friendship. The rare bilateral intervention in Japan's currency market was designed to prop up the yen from its 40-year low against the dollar. See how it goes. Okay, here's Trump commenting on it.
To support the Japanese yen at this time.
To support who?
To support the Japanese currency.
Because we have a good relationship with Japan. We're very strong, very, very strong financially. And they are, they have a weakening yen, and they wanted a little bit of help. And we're always there for Japan. Japan's been very good to us, with the exception, of course, of Pearl Harbor.
Mr. President,
they were not good.
What is the U.S. getting at?
He freaking brings up Pearl Harbor. Hilarious. All right. Why has the U.S. Stepped in and started actively buying the Japanese yen? Here it is explained simply. Japanese yen hit a 40-year low. Japan is the largest shareholder, largest holder of U.S. treasuries. To strengthen the yen, Japan sells foreign currencies, U.S. treasuries, and uses the proceeds to buy the yen. If Japan were forced to liquidate a meaningful portion of its treasury holdings to fund continued intervention, that level of selling would undoubtedly push treasury prices lower and yields higher. Of course, U.S. borrowing costs are already under pressure. 30-year treasury yield just climbed above 5.2%, highest level since 2007. Same time, roughly 1/3 of U.S. government debt must be refinanced within the next year. Government will have to roll trillions of dollars of debt at today's much higher interest rates. Yeah, or would. By buying the yen alongside Japan, the U.S. is trying to stabilize the currency before Japan is forced to sell even more treasuries and drive American borrowing costs higher. Interesting. Wow. Next highest is the UK, followed by China in third place. Come on now. Uh-oh. Lost our spot.
The US and Japan have joined forces to prop up the yen. But is the move likely to have any lasting impact? The yen's decline has become a headache for Japan. It used to be a good thing for Japan because it gives exports a boost, but now the decline has become so much that it's pushing up import costs, including for fuel. For the United States, I think the yen's decline to such a low level actually erodes their exporters' competitive advantage and offsets the impact of Trump tariffs, something the president probably does not want. Well, certainly joint coordinated intervention is much more effective than solo intervention, but typically intervention has only a temporary effect in slowing the currency's move, and it really doesn't have the power to reverse a trend driven by fundamentals. Now, the reason for the weak yen is really a strong demand from Japanese companies that need to pay more dollars to buy goods. Another reason is the slow pace of the central bank's interest rate hikes. That keeps the yen's appeal low compared to countries like the US, where they have a higher interest rate.
Microsoft warning travelers about hotel Wi-Fi security, saying Russian hackers are using fake sign-in pages to gain access to users' accounts. Oh, geez.
Good morning, Michael. If you're traveling this summer, you might want to think twice before logging into the hotel Wi-Fi. In a new alert, Microsoft is warning that it identified widespread compromise of Wi-Fi networks at hospitality-related organizations. Russian-backed hackers will use hotel Wi-Fi networks to target travelers. The hackers create these fake pages that look like real Microsoft 365 logins. Then they'll steal your credentials or send malware. And these pages can look very realistic. Microsoft published an example of a fake 365 Windows update that looks like this one there. Microsoft says you should assume that public and hotel Wi-Fi networks might not be trustworthy. Using your phone as a hotspot is a safer option, but make sure that you check your plan's data allowance.
Jeez. Oh, man. Florida. Hundreds of thugs shut down I-75 for a massive street takeover.
Florida interstate, where authorities say hundreds of drivers shut down I-75.
Freaking people.
during an alleged illegal street takeover. Traffic cameras capturing cars blocking every northbound lane as drivers did burnouts in the middle of the highway. The crowd finally began to scatter as troopers got there, but police say one green BMW took off, leading them on a chase that reached 140 miles an hour. The 25-year-old driver and his 3 passengers were arrested. The driver is now facing felony charges. And a remarkable story out of Montana, where a 14-year-old has been credited with saving a man from drowning.
California will raise its statewide minimum wage to $17.40 an hour beginning January 2027. It'll make California the highest among the states. Federal minimum wage has remained $7.25 an hour since 2009. Some cities in Washington, D.C. already exceeded California's new rate. Go figure. Department of Homeland Security is eliminating asylum interviews to speed up applications and cut the backlog. Good. Goodbye. Sayonara. Bon voyage. Adios, amigo. Don't come back. AstraZeneca reportedly in talks to combine with U.S. Bristol-Myers Squibb in a deal that would create one of the world's biggest pharmaceutical groups, valued at nearly $400 billion U.S. Yikes.
Please join me in congratulating the President of the United States on winning the Super Senior and the Senior Division with a great score of 70.
He won both.
Out there winning golf.
Best president of my lifetime. He won. And look at John Panther stalking him. John, get away from
Won the club championship.
John Panther, snaggle.
You think they let him? You think they let him win? I think he's just that good.
Get away from snaggle tooth.
Please.
Falcon 9 launches from California. Taking some Starlink satellites up. That we saw. That's live. Authorities in the Bahamas said a small seaplane crashed into a dock while trying to take off on Saturday. How do you pull that off, buddy? Oops. Stop. Well, shit. Can we see this wreckage from outside? I want to see how bad this actually looks. Oh my gosh. Derp. Poor plane. Truly apocalyptic scenes from Washington. Let's see. Oh man, jeez.
Dude, it's all gone. Everything. Literally everything. We're on like, what are we on? We're on Old Rifle Drive? Rifle Club Road.
What you running for, girl?
Dude, everything.
This is his work.
This is it. This is it. This is my uncle's work van right here.
Wow.
This is the van that he worked in.
We had a gold retriever that I trained.
everything, dude.
Oh, I've met Solia. That's his van.
He was at her boyfriend.
61-year-old white grandmother who beat cancer twice, beaten to death by this guy, just because she opened her door. Violent repeat offender. Oh, you don't say.
Apartment when she was allegedly attacked by 27-year-old Dasair Jefferson.
Dasair Jefferson.
And her family says she didn't know after he began knocking on an upstairs neighbor's door.
My grandma walked out and notified him, like, hey, like, nobody's there right now. And he got really upset and started cussing her out.
According to court documents, that's when Gerke's boyfriend stepped in and was allegedly hit by Jefferson. The interim complaint says when Gerke tried to help her boyfriend up, Jefferson hit her, causing her to hit the pavement and lose consciousness.
Wow. My grandma is not a person that likes being around confrontation. So she probably just wanted to get him up and go inside.
And while Gerke's family is heartbroken by her death, they're also upset that Jefferson was out and able to commit the crime in the first place, considering he has previous convictions for violent acts.
How many innocent people and family members have to get taken
before people suck it up and quit worrying about being labeled a racist for seeing what we all see? Like, guy never should have been out.
We've built up so much compute power. We've built.
What is this one? Influential tech voices. Oh yeah. Pushing the idea of slowing down the development of AI. You'll never guess who. Oh, OpenAI and Anthropic? Wait.
We've built up so much compute power. We've built up so much, technology around this. Some of it's operating on its own at all times. We can channel where this goes, and always has to be human control over this at the end of the day. But the idea that we could slow it down
to let the world catch up.
All the best people are arguing that we need to slow it down.
I don't even know what that means either. I agree with you there. I think that we have to kind of let it play itself out and see what it can do. And obviously, security in general is.
I can tell you that it should slow down to let me catch up with where Andrew is.
Yeah, well, they didn't say it, they didn't show it here, but yeah, OpenAI and Anthropic jumping on board with this. Yep. They create the frontier level AI and then say, oh, gee, OMG, look at that. It's so dangerous. Oh, geez, we got to stop progress and slow it down. Control it. With us in the driver's seat, of course. And no one else. Forever. What they want. Pay attention. Stuff is a lot of money is spent to pitch you on this stuff through social media and other subversive avenues, trying to convince you that this is somehow a good idea. Just look, pay attention to who else is pushing it, okay? See who falls on which side of the fence, and maybe reassess. Dangerous wildfires tearing through the Northwest, forcing thousands of people to evacuate and destroying hundreds of homes.
This is the reality that hundreds of people here in the Spokane area are waking up to. Their homes are gone. The latest estimate we have heard, at least 640 structures burned, but that number is likely much higher. These fires were fueled by hot temperatures and high winds. They came on so fast, many people say they only had time to grab a few things and escape with their lives. Dangerous wildfires are tearing through neighborhoods around Spokane, Washington, leaving burnt-out homes and cars, some still on fire. Tens of thousands are under evacuation orders as 3 large wildfires scorch more than 7,000 acres.
The wind was so fast, it just blew through so quickly.
Joe Vancara's family rushed to dig a fire line to protect his home during the height of the blaze. So far, at least 9 of his neighbors have lost theirs.
Everything around here is burnt until you get to this 3-foot fire break they dug. It bought time and it saved the houses.
One of Vancara's best friends lived next door. Now, that home is nothing but ashes.
It just saddens me greatly. They were devastated today.
Strong winds gusting over 30 miles per hour, dry brush and low humidity.
Yikes.
Are fueling growing wildfires across multiple states.
Hope all our people up there are doing all right.
In southern Utah, the Widemouth 2 wildfire tripled in size in less than a day, burning more than 36,000 acres. On Sunday, the U.S. Forest Service described the growth as catastrophic and said it was too dangerous to put firefighters on the front lines of the expanding inferno. Firefighters here in the Spokane area are going to get a break from those windy conditions that were spreading the fires out here. It's going to be hot. The smoke, the air quality is a problem, but much better situation when it comes to trying to get containment on some of these fires.
Oh, cute. I saw one of you earlier asking for baby updates. Here, hold on. These are fresh, hot off the presses. Let me see here. Hold on. I'm gonna turn the thing. Here we go. Oh. Too bright. Turn the brightness down. Oh. Isn't that adorable? Isn't he cute? So cool, like 3D. Amazing. You can see his little hand. Look at this. Look at this. It's amazing how it can capture that. That is so cool. There's the classic one also from today, I think. Yeah. He's a cutie. Yep. Okay, let's see. Let's get that back where it needs to be. Yeah. There we go. All right. Back to it here. You know what? I got to put out the Amazon link again. And of course, the Cash App. I mean, if anyone wants to throw anything our way, we could probably use it. So. I'm not about begging, okay? Although I don't like to do it. You know. But I will. Let me drop the Cash App out there. And I will see if I can find the Amazon link, or maybe if Steph is there. Maybe she's got it on hand. Yeah, I don't have it on this computer. Can you drop the Amazon link in chat, please? What's it called? The baby registry? Is that what they call it? Yeah. So cool. He's so cute. He's adorable. You can see the hand and like the shape, and it's so amazing. Yeah, you just see the beginning of the ear and then it's so neat. Yep. Okay, she's gonna drop the Amazon baby registry link in there. I know there's some stuff that we need. What is it that we need? There's a bunch of little stuff and onesies, yeah. Hoodies. Odds and ends. Binky! Gotta get their binkies. Alright, what's next here? Okay. Let me scroll. We're down to like 5 minutes here, so let me scroll up to the fresh stuff. Crackdown in the Capitol. DC Safe Task Force reports nearly 16,000 arrests and 2,000 illegal guns seized. Jeez. Amazon surges to $3 trillion in market value for the first time. Wow. Nuts. I think Apple is projected to hit 5 trillion soon here. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Uh-huh. 11-day-old Arizona baby found hundreds of miles away after being kidnapped. Don't listen, Wesley. Shh. Earmuffs. The 11-day-old baby found nearly 200 miles away from home after being abducted from his Arizona home. How did this happen? Suspect was child's father that had no custodial rights. Took baby with no permission. No permission. Ouch. Thankfully unharmed. Oh boy. BlackRock launches 2 tokenized money market funds for stablecoin reserves. Tell me more, please. God. Launched 2 blockchain-based money market funds designed for stablecoin reserve management and institutional investors in digital asset markets. Aims to preserve liquidity and principal stability by investing in cash, short-term U.S. Treasuries, and ultra-short repurchase agreements. Automatically reinvest daily dividends. Can be used across multiple blockchains. Stablecoin issuers can use the fund to manage reserves. Securitizes handling token issuance and investor record keeping. How much are they dumping into this? Doesn't say. Doesn't say. You getting hungry? Yeah, what do you want? Let me make something. Let me make soup. No, not in the mood. Not in the mood. Trump immediately directs big oil companies like Chevron to stop playing games and slash their prices. Oh.
So it's
TikTok, you guys. You better get those prices dropping.
ExxonMobil, it's Chevron, it's Shell, it's BP, it's a lot of them. The gasoline or the oil prices have come down so much, and we are not seeing anything at the pump by comparison to what it should be. We should be, in my opinion, at $2.25 right now at the pump. And we're higher than that. And we are doing a big investigation on it. Yeah, they're not reducing the prices commensurate with what's happening. Look, we are sending out, think of it, 19 million barrels came out yesterday. That is a flood. That's like a gusher. That's an oil gusher. And they should be much lower, the gasoline prices, which really is what people see more than anything else, but for their car. But the gasoline prices should be much lower at the pump. And the oil companies are possibly gouging. I hope they're not, otherwise
they are.
They're going to be in big trouble. They're going to be in
They're gouging.
big trouble. We're not going to play games.
Ooh. So what's the current price per barrel here? Hovering right around 80 is what I saw last night. Just dipped under 80. Let's see. Up to the moment. Oh, it's back up a little bit. Back up above 80. $84. We'll see. Okay, anything else?
We've also got President Trump's...
Oh, in a stunning surge, Republicans flipped the odds to win the 2026 Wisconsin governor's race for the first time ever this year, as Democrats will likely nominate anti-white socialist Francesca Hong. Well, I'll put the cart before the horse here.
Endorsed candidate for governor of Wisconsin, Tom Tiffany. Tom, please stand up and be recognized. Another great guy.
This is Wisconsin after all. I mean, come on. Certainly hope that's the case, but I wouldn't just turn your back on it just yet. I mean, people have gone off the deep end, so. Who dumped 150 turtles illegally in New Jersey? Who indeed? Who would do such a thing?
The investigation is continuing into what may be a black market reptile trade. Officials want to know who illegally dumped more than 150 so-called box turtles along the banks of the Rahway River here. They are protected in the state of New Jersey. Many have been rescued, but others are still out here. In fact, we spotted several.
So what I caught were eastern box turtles and the three-toed brown turtle. And
where were they?
Just here in the brush here.
So we found these three guys under the guardrail, like maybe about 100 yards down along the river. We did a pretty thorough search. It's just kind of shocking, you know, who has this many turtles.
Who would do that?
And then why do you think to just dump them by a river? It's really sad.
Well, I mean, I guess it's better than dumping them on a highway. Be free, little friends. Be free. All right. Oh, what happened with this?
The D.C. Safe Task Force is heading into August hot on the trails of criminals. In the latest...
Oh, well, I thought we were going to get an update on this. The reflecting pool peelers. Oh, well. All right, we'll call it quits there. We're at the top of the hour here. I believe Mr. Fedora is in. Yes, he is. How you doing, sir?
Yeah. Doing great. How about you? I love the pictures.
Doing pretty good. Oh, thank you.
Pictures of the baby.
Yeah. Yep. He's growing.
Yeah. Yeah. It won't be long either, will it?
No, it really won't. It's going to be pretty fast. Like you know, before we know it, it'll be time. End of the year.
Yeah, just like everything else is moving. Just way too fast.
Yeah.
Seems like. But,
well, I'm gonna go get them some lunch. They're hungry, so I got to get cooking.
If you don't have time watching the show today, you might want to watch it a later time.
Cool.
I'm gonna be covering. Have you heard about the Buzz?
Yeah, I did.
Buzz?
Yeah, I gave it a little try, but it was not working so good for me. But that was like right after he announced it, so maybe it's improved since. The concept is really interesting.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So I thought I'd go through a little bit of a timeline of Jack Dorsey, and what he's been doing a little bit, and land on the Buzz.
Interesting.
Which I think is kind of interesting. His emblem or his logo kind of resembles what took him out, basically, of Twitter.
a little funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
cool.
All right. Well, let's get to lunch and have a great day.
We'll do. Have a good show, man.
Hey, everyone, how's it going? Yeah, we'll get right in.
Oh, great. There we go. Well, I suppose that does it for me, you guys. I'm out of here. I will be... Well, you know what? You know what I did not do? I didn't up that Amazon link over to the YouTube people. Let me get that. Copy the link. There we go. If anyone feels like throwing baby a little gift there. All right. Yep, I'm gonna go get lunch going. I'm hungry too, so I will catch you guys not tonight, tomorrow morning. So have a great rest of your day, and I will see you then.